Earth 400. That's going to be at Dover.
Oh, wow.
So whenever you get to go in the suite at Dover and go to it's so cool.
It's amazing.
This is what we're going to ask. We're going to ask a universal question today. So, what year did Islands of Adventure open? Because there's 3 parks here. There's 3 huge parks here.
A 4th on the way.
Islands of Adventure is one of them. So 215-263-WMMR. Let's see if you know the answer to that. What year did Islands of Adventure open? We're going to go through some birthdays while we wait for your answer. Today being the 20th day of March, it is Holly Hunter's birthday, and she turns 65 years old.
So what is your favorite role raising Arizona?
I mean, that character's
it's kind of an iconic character,
over the top and awesome. But I mean, as Mrs. Incredible, Elastigirl,
she's awesome.
That's probably my favorite one from her.
She's good too as the senator in Batman v Superman.
Yeah. And a movie that I kind of
By Annie?
I sort of like just because it's kind of in our industry, but broadcast news.
Yes.
But there's some parts about it that I don't really like.
Right.
I don't know. But she's great in almost everything she does. She is 65 years old, where she kind of talks out the side of her mouth like that. Spike Lee has his birthday as well, and he is 66 years old. We mention every year on his birthday that Malcolm X is just a masterpiece.
That's his masterpiece, by far. Love that movie. And he's a great director.
Yeah.
My brother did, he directed a commercial in Philadelphia outside of Geno's Steaks, and my brother got a part in the commercial and got residual checks forever until, because it was a commercial, it was a Sprite or 7-Up commercial with Kobe Bryant. Yeah. And then when all that stuff happened with Kobe and the girl in the hotel room and all of that,
it went away.
So he got so much money up until that point, and then when that happened, he was like, "Damn it, Kobe!"
And Spike Lee directed it.
Yeah.
Do the Sprite thing.
What?
Was it do the Sprite thing?
Yeah,
would have been great.
Right? Which way? I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, I can find the commercial. It's out there.
So, did he get each one of those residual checks? Did he like one a year, or were they coming more?
You know what? I'm not really. No, I think they would come a little more frequently than that. Like maybe it was like quarterly or something like that. But I mean, for
checks from It's Always Sunny, and they'll be like $1.
Yeah, no, my brother's was not $1.
You know what?
He was featured in the commercial.
Wow.
I had a buddy of mine, some people that he knew, or one of his relatives, I think it was, got a part in a Kit Kat commercial. And it was the Gimme a Break. It was that whole thing. And it ran forever, and they made loads of money off that. They almost felt it was like a life-changing...
The Kit Kat commercial.
Yeah, they went and auditioned for it. They were as a family, and they did it, and they got these residuals for years that were in the tens of thousands, and it just kept coming.
I want Kit Kat money.
And so they saw it as a very important moment in their life. Wow, so it can be good for you. He's 66 today, Spike Lee. Here's a guy that we absolutely loved having in our studio one time, Hal Linden.
Yeah.
Barney Miller himself, and he turns 92 years old.
Wow. 92.
And he was just a great chat with him, man.
I love that show, Barney Miller, for the longest time. And had a great ensemble.
Yeah.
They very rarely ever left the precinct, right? That was it. They were always there.
In fact, I don't...
Was there ever a time they left?
Not that I know of. They would go downstairs occasionally, but that was pretty much it. Yeah. So happy 92nd to him. The great Bobby Orr has... Oh,
I was a little late on that. I forgot I could do this.
Yeah. Bobby Orr, he played... I think he played Wojo's older brother.
He did.
From Barney Miller in a couple of episodes.
He really liked the show.
Yeah.
He was a huge Barney Miller fan.
In fact, on his uniform, there's a big picture of Hal Linden on it.
Little known fact about Bobby Orr, huge Barney Miller fan. I mean, but who wasn't at
Once they canceled Greatest American Hero.
Oh, and that he's a Hall of Fame hocky player too. He's 75 years old today. Speaking of athletes, Pat Riley. He's not. It doesn't have him in the Hall of Fame here. NBA coach.
He should be, right?
He should be, right?
He absolutely has
to.
Just
in the Hair Hall of Fame.
He does have, or at least
he used to have.
He used to have a rock solid head of hair on him.
I hope it's just like a one patch of stringy hair now at this point.
That's all that's left.
Lush, beautiful hair.
Yeah, 2008 he was inducted.
There we go.
So he turns, how old is he? 78 years old today. Michael Rappaport has his birthday, the actor.
He's been in the studio a number of times.
Yep, he's definitely checked in with us a few times. He turns 53 years old. One of my favorite moments of him, because he's an avid social media guy, but it was these two I don't know, an elk or something fighting outside, and he's doing the commentary. Hey, Ma!
Yeah.
It's like an effing moose out here or something.
I think we actually were two combating.
Or was it moose?
Yeah,
moose-eye. And he was calling them antelopes or something, whatever. But it was
great.
Hilarious.
He's on that show on Netflix, and in the show, his son is autistic. I forget the name of it, but there was like 3 or 4 seasons. It was a really good show.
Okay. It's funny because he's one of those guys who puts on this that kind of thing, and every time he's come in on the show, he's not that.
Yeah. Atypical?
Atypical was the show,
Atypical.
So he is 53 today. Carl Palmer. Drummer for Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And
huge fan of Barney Miller.
And Asia, massive Barney Miller fan.
Okay.
Why?
Listen. What was? Is a very, very finicky mouse. I didn't even hit the button, but apparently,
if we're going to be honest about him, he obviously had gas problems throughout most of his career.
The cursor was on.
Stop the Barney Miller.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Preston just looked over at Casey and went, "Why?"
Yeah. Because he said Barney Miller, and obviously you play the longest part you have.
You know.
A
lot of people don't know that it's a very gassy.
I was looking for something else, by the way. Whose birthday is it?
It is
Carl Palmer.
Of Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Birthday today.
Also gassy.
Let's try to do a show so that maybe Universal will invite us back.
Lake and Palmer.
Paula, our contact is in the other room. She's like, why did we invite these guys?
There we go. There's some ELP.
It's a good drum song.
Very well done. It comes in here in a moment. But by the way, we were, I remember one day we were doing our show, and somebody down the hall goes, hey, I got Carl Palmer out here. Do you remember he was just in the hallway?
Yeah.
And he popped in. We didn't put him on the air because he had to go, but I got a picture with him. He was a really nice guy.
He was in for Barney Miller Con.
He was for Barney Miller Con?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh, come on. Close it out.
The greeting is to do that elongated part.
All right. Anyway, Carl Palmer, a great drummer.
Were you a fan of the Emerson, Lake and Palmer?
Yeah,
they had a lot of progressive stuff.
I mainly know the hits, and this is a great song, and but I never. That's one of those bands I should go back to and take a deeper dive in because there's lots of really cool progressive, awesome musicianship, and
very concepts, concept-y.
So Carl is 73 today. Jimmy Vaughn, who's a brother of the late Stevie Ray Vaughan, and guitars for the Fabulous Thunderbirds. But he and Stevie growing up in Texas, they were like, obviously Stevie Ray went on to absolutely eclipse him in ability on guitar. But Jimmy was a very well-known straight-up blues player in Texas.
I'm not familiar. So did they play together a lot?
Yeah, they did when they were younger, and they eventually found their own bands. And actually, Jimmy's I think, started to rise a little bit before Stevie did, but then Stevie developed and became one of the greatest guitar gods ever. But Jimmy Vaughn still plays. He's 72 years old today. And then the last birthday I saw... excuse me, is Ruby Rose, the actress.
Yes.
Orange is the New Black. She was Batgirl for a little while, right?
She's actually really good, I think, in John Wick 2. I think she's a good actress. But when they have her kicking ass...
She's too small.
Preston, she's like 80 pounds.
Yeah.
And it becomes science fiction at that point. That's why I loved in John Wick 2.
Yeah.
He tries to fight him for about 5 seconds, and he ends up besting her easily because that's the way it should be. I don't care how dynamic a fighter you are. There's at a certain point where it becomes ridiculous.
Yep. All right, so we're going to see if we can get some phone calls. This is our first time taking the phones out for a run here from Orlando at Universal Orlando Resort. So we're going to go to Chris and see if we can get an answer to this. But first, let me ask the question, which was, what year did Islands of Adventure open? So I'm going to click on this, and we're going to see if we can hear Chris. Hey, Chris, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Great, man. You sound awesome, dude. Thanks for checking in. We appreciate it. All right, so we need an answer. In what year did Islands of Adventure open?
Yeah, that would be 1999.
The man is correct.
Nice.
Absolutely. Chris, hang on the line. We're going to get your information. And, sir, we are going to set you up with a pair of tickets to join Jackie and Brent in a suite at the Worth 400 on Sunday, April 30th at Dover Motor Speedway. NASCAR roars back to the Monster Mile at Dover Motor Speedway, April 28th to the 30th. And you can be there live. in person at the edge of your seat for all of the excitement. And you can get tickets at DoverMotorspeedway.com. So congrats. We'll give those away all week long.
Check out free it is, Preston, to look across at the Hotel Beverly Wilshire.
Yeah.
Their replica of the hotel. This whole area is amazing.
That's where Pretty Woman.
That's right.
Yeah.
Viv stayed.
Bev, Will.
Got it. All right, let me go through some entertainment stories since we're here in Hollywood. This is a sad story to see. Lance Reddick passed away unexpectedly on Friday at the age of 60. Casey, you and Steve were talking off air about this.
Yeah, he was the main clerk at the Continental in the John Wick movies. We talked to him because of that.
Yeah.
And he was also on a show called Fringe, which I loved, which is kind of like an X-Files kind of thing.
And The Wire as well.
And The Wire, yeah. So, and we had him on to talk, and he was just a funny guy, and I always assumed he had some sort of accent, but he didn't, and so he was great. And, but yeah, in the Wick movies alone, he has a huge legend, especially in the last one. He became very much involved in the kick-assery.
It says he died of natural causes.
At how old?
60.
That's,
I mean, that's early.
That's not natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there was maybe by that they mean there was some sort of illness,
right?
Or something that popped up recently. But he was also on Oz, and he did a turn in Lost as well. But I don't remember what his role was.
It was some kind of like evil character, and I don't know if it was for the that corporation that sort of lorded over everything. But he was this
Dharma.
Yeah, he was this weird, mysterious, dark character, and you didn't know if he was up to any good. It was
Dharma in and of itself was.
Yeah. But I remember him being a compelling character on that show too.
Stars such as Idris Elba, Halle Berry, Ben Stiller, Questlove, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, they all paid tribute to the late actor on social media. Elba, who starred in The Wire with Reddick, said in a video on his Instagram story, Lance was really the guy. I loved him, and I miss him. I don't give an F what anyone has to say. He killed that role as an actor. I'm crying right now, heart bleeding for my guy because he went in for us, he said.
We've had so many out-of-left-field deaths, over the past year, where there was no indication of anything going on. As you said, Kathy, 60s kind of, to say natural causes.
That's not natural.
But we'll find out, I guess, at some point.
Sad news. And more sad news of sorts. Anytime we speak of Bruce Willis now, it's usually, nothing that positive. He turned 68 this weekend on Sunday, and it was his first birthday since receiving the frontotemporal dementia diagnosis. His wife, Emma, took to her Instagram stories to share how she was feeling. She said, "Today's my husband's birthday. I've started the morning by crying, as you can see by my swollen eyes and snotty nose," she said in the video. "I just think it's important that you see all of the sides of this." She said, "I always get the message, or people always tell me, oh, you're so strong. I don't know how you do it. I'm not given a choice. I wish I was, but I'm raising 2 kids in this." She said, "Sometimes in our lives we have to pull our big girl panties on and get to it. And that's what I'm doing. But I do have times of sadness every day, grief every day. And I'm really feeling it today on his birthday." Later in the day, she shared a touching video montage featuring their lives together. She said, "He is pure love. He is loved, and I will be loving him always. Happy birthday, my sweet," she wrote. So
stuff like this is it's cruel on the person who's afflicted, but it's very cruel on the people who love that person because they are slipping away.
Yeah. And then I have another negative story here. I'm sorry to bring this to you. But on Friday, The Guardian published an interview with Sam Neill, the actor, during which a Jurassic Park actor revealed that he had been diagnosed with stage 3, and I cannot pronounce this, angioimmunoblastic T-cell lymphoma, which is a blood cancer.
Blood cancer, yeah.
Yeah. So he began a very expensive, he said, chemotherapy treatment in 2022. He said, "I'm not off the hook as such, but there's no cancer in my body, so
I read
that's great."
I forget, maybe it might have been in the Daily Mail that the prognosis is actually good. The treatment is involved, but obviously we're keeping our fingers crossed, as I'm sure he is.
So when they say stage 3, and I'm a neophyte when it comes to understanding these things, but I did have someone in my life recently that had a cancer diagnosis. And that stage has to do with how much, these stages, how much it is spread, whether it's contained in one spot, whether it's moved on to another system, or if it hits in like the lymphatic system or something.
Right.
To where it spreads out in your body. So I don't know at what point, when you hear somebody say stage 4, you automatically go, oh, wow. That's like, is there no coming back from stage 4?
I was just thinking about that because actually it's more and more the case that and there's somebody that I know who had stage 4 and came back from it. So
into remission,
I think it just represents a more involved battle, but it does not mean you cannot come back from it.
Yeah, that's right. I'm reading about it now, but Preston, you were right. It's sort of like stage 1, it means it's localized. Stage 2, the cancer has grown but hasn't spread. Stage 3 is the cancer has grown larger and has possibly spread to lymph nodes or other tissues. And then stage 4, the cancer has spread to other organs and other areas of the body, which obviously is not as easy to come back from. So I think you still can, but it just means that it's spreading.
Okay. Following this information, Sam Neill said that he shared on an Instagram video and assured his fans that he was alive and kicking, and he's been in remission for 8 months.
Well, there you go. That's good.
He said, my news seems to be all over the news in the moment, and it's sort of cancer, which is slightly tiresome because, as you see, I am alive and well, and I've been in remission for 8 months, which feels really good, and I'm alive and kicking, and I'm going back to work. We were thinking about Sam Neill yesterday because we were riding some Jurassic Park rides.
Yep, that's him.
And he's the man, so, and we'll recap some of that stuff a little bit later on our time here at Universal Orlando Resorts. Today reports that Sharon Stone was awarded the 2023 Courage Award at the Women's Cancer Research Fund's An Unforgettable Evening last week, it was called.
Yeah.
During her acceptance speech, the actress encouraged attendees to increase their donations, saying that donating is a form of courage during these difficult times. And getting emotional, she revealed, because I know what's happening, I just lost half of my money to this banking thing, and that doesn't mean that I'm not here. So,
wait a second. So did she lose money in the
those
Silicon
two banks
Valley Bank
I guess
collapse?
So. Yeah. I don't know.
SVB?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know me?
Yeah, you know me. All right, so we'll see. According to Entertainment Tonight, Bad Bunny seemingly dissed Kendall Jenner's ex-boyfriend Devin Booker.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you something.
On a new track.
When Preston first heard this story, I saw him walking through the hotel, and he was yelling, screaming. When this story hit with you.
I threw a couple things.
Yeah.
I really was out of my...
Well, you're a T-Book fan.
And he kept saying, I
Yeah.
expected better from Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
I apologize.
And I said, Preston, bad is in his name.
All right, so this is the new track. It's called Coco Chanel.
Coco Chanel.
Yes.
okay.
After the news broke that the rapper and Jenner were dating, Booker responded by unfollowing the Kardashian star.
Don't do that.
Wow.
They're American royalty.
Translated lyrics from the new song read, I'm not bad, baby. That's a gimmick. But the Puerto Rico sun is warmer than the one in Phoenix.
No, he didn't.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Booker, who plays for the Phoenix Suns, commented on an Instagram post about the lyrics, saying he worried about another man again, Booker wrote.
I think there are 7 more NBA players that Kendall Jenner has not been with, so there's still hope.
She's working her way through.
In fact, Pat Riley is the last on the list, Preston.
Okay,
Former.
it's his birthday today.
Yeah,
Maybe he'll get some. Coco Chanel. She created Chanel, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and Coco, hot cocoa.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
I-
she did both.
what?
Invented hot cocoa. Yeah, she is loaded.
Loaded
Well,
because of the hot chocolate empire and the perfume empire.
I mean, everybody talks about the perfume, but I mean, come on.
I think those Chanel commercials are so pompous. So they're the ones with Keira Knightley, right? Because of the bit.
I think so. There's a few of them like that. Like Anya Taylor-Joy is in some ads that are of that theme, that style, that kind of.
If you want to show how effective I think the fragrance is, have her removing a septic tank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, and going right on to right to a highfalutin event.
I mean, how do you sell smell?
Right over the TV.
Visually,
Right.
yeah. But the one that I did actually like was maybe it's just because I love Charlize Theron, but she did a Dior one.
Okay.
I don't know. It was
Who's the one with Julia Roberts with the
Lancome, I think, isn't
Yeah.
it?
That is okay.
and
There's
then-
oh, I'm sorry. Did you?
No. I mean, remembering
Who does Stetson?
Brad Pitt did the
Oh, yeah.
Rich Cracklefuls.
Crackerfuls.
there is a like a mystery model, and I don't. She's not an actress or anything like that, because obviously they get these stunningly beautiful
Right,
women.
right.
But and maybe you guys have seen it, but she's holding the perfume bottle, and it's like it's lit. It's
Yes.
like emulating light, and she's just holding like close to her face. I have to stop and watch that. That woman is so gorgeous.
The stuff
I have
looks
no
like
idea
the
who
stuff
she is.
in Death Becomes Her. That glowing liquid that they took, it looks exactly like that.
Yeah. So, have you guys seen that one?
No,
Steve has.
it doesn't ring a bell.
All right,
Was it Electric Youth?
No. Wait, that's the Debbie Gibson.
Yeah, she had perfume, Electric Youth.
I saw a hemorrhoid commercial with John Goodman. That's fairly similar.
Kathy, did you have that
Oh,
scent?
yeah, of course.
Of course.
What? Are you kidding? Yeah, it came in.
Did you get Electric Youth for free because you had knew a dancer and her?
Yeah, it was my cousin. Yeah, I got all their promotional products. Yeah, it had a bottle. I had a little green stripe and hot pink stripe on it.
Oh,
Did you go through a Debbie Gibson phase? Were you?
Oh yeah, yes.
okay.
Are you kidding? I used to, yes. I would call my cousin. I'd be like, "We're coming to the show tonight. Pull us up on stage," and he'd be like,
Wow.
"All right, got it." Because remember, she had the song.
Yeah.
I think it was "Shake Your Love,"
Yeah.
where she would
I
pull
love that song.
all these young kids on stage. So anytime I went to a show, I'm like, "I'm coming." He's like, "Great, we'll pull you. Where are your seats?" So we would end up on stage with them.
More than once?
Oh yeah.
Oh, my
yeah.
God.
Yeah, all the time.
Wow.
cool.
I was just going to say my daughter wears Ariana Grande, which is like the equivalent, but let's
right.
move on. I want to hear more
The
about you
updated
dancing.
Electric
yeah,
Youth.
Yeah.
All right.
And it smells good.
A couple other quick things. Wednesday, the show
Yes.
turned out to be obviously a huge hit for Jenny Ortega. She shared with UK Times recently that she almost did not star in it. She said, "I got an email and I passed on it. I'd done so much TV in my life, and all I've ever wanted to do is film. And you have to prove yourself. It's only the last 3 or 4 years that I've been able to start going up for film. And I was scared that by signing on to another television show that it would prevent me from doing other jobs that I really, cared about." And she said, "The only reason I went back to it was because Tim Burton is such a legend, and we just happened to get along very well. But even then I said, no. And I think I'm okay a couple more times." And then she added that she didn't think many people would actually watch it once she made it.
Well, she was wrong.
So I thought it was going to be, I thought it wasn't going to be watched, and that it will be a nice little gem that someone finds, but most people don't.
Did you see her on SNL? Did you see any of that stuff?
I did not, no.
She was really good.
Yeah?
Yeah. She's only 20. That blows my mind. 20.
Kid. Yeah.
Kathy, that's just like in your range.
Yeah, right. She's about my age.
Well, he may have been designated the sexiest man alive, according to Dr. Julian De Silva's use of the Greek golden ratio earlier this year. But Roger Jean Page recently said that his breath was horrendous on the set of Bridgerton. Sorry, that's my
Versus
laptop
texting
making
us.
noise.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
Wait, who said his breath stunk?
Roger Jean Page, he admitted that his breath
Why
stunk.
did his breath stink?
He said what no one knows about Bridgerton was that Phoebe and I had horrendous coffee breath the whole way through.
Coffee breath isn't necessarily
That's
horrendous.
Pretty gnarly,
It
though.
can be bad.
Page shared that he and Phoebe Denver, is that how you say it? Communicated about what food was okay to consume before shooting their scenes together. And he said, you approach the other actor and go, "Hey, so the scenes after lunch, what are our rules? Are we no onions? Are we no garlic? Do I have to get the coffee in early?"
Should it be Pop Rocks?
The actor added, we're both like, "I actually like coffee, so I don't mind," and it became their coffee safe space for the rest of the season.
He's in the new
funny.
Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Is he?
Which, is, believe it or not, is getting great reviews.
Well, good. I hope so.
Yeah.
And now Hugh Grant's in that,
Hugh
right?
Grant's in
That's
it?
why he was out on, on the red carpet
on the
stuff,
press
right?
thing.
Okay.
You know the legendary story, since we're here in Hollywood and faux Hollywood,
Hollywood
but it looks
Boulevard,
like- one of the classic stories, Clark Gable and Janet Leigh in Gone with the Wind. He had like almost full dentures, and she said kissing him was a nightmare because it was like super bad breath.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think he did not like her, so he loved that.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he doubled down and ate like raw onions.
I
right
just
before?
had a turd for lunch.
One last story. While promoting his documentary Still, a Michael J. Fox movie at South by Southwest last week, Michael J. Fox discussed how his Parkinson's diagnosis has affected his life. And he said, excuse me, Parkinson's sucks, but it's a great life. He received his diagnosis when he was just 29 years old in 1991. He said, "I have no regrets. You do what you have to do, but you do not want to kill yourself. And that's when I stopped," he said.
I saw him at, I think it was at this. He was with his wife. And so whatever he's using to mitigate the symptoms of the Parkinson's is pretty good. I mean,
Sometimes. It's
Yeah.
not all the time.
Yeah,
It can creep back in. You can have flare-ups.
Right.
And
but for the most part, when I've seen him out in public, he looks pretty good.
but sometimes when you're out in public, you're putting your best foot forward.
Right.
Well, and I also think, Nick, I've heard he kind of will essentially double up on the medication if he's going to be in public to help him out.
Yeah, I have a family friend going through it, Steve, and really it's some days are almost just fine, and then other days it's terrible.
He's
had it for about a decade at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Michael J. Fox said, pity is a benign form of abuse. I can feel sorry for myself, but I don't have time for that. And there's stuff to be learned from this. So let's do that and move on. And I think he said he's done acting, right? I mean, I think we've talked about that in the past.
Is he? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that it's become too much for him, so he's not going to do that anymore. That's what I thought.
He said the only thing that would bring him back would be a Barney Miller reboot.
Oh,
reboot.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Maybe there's a character
That'd be
for
kinda
him. I have no idea. The great Hal Lennon celebrates his birthday today. All right, Case, I think we're ready to roll through some clips, and Jason's going to help us back at the studio. So, can I get a drum roll, please?
No.
I can do one.
We don't have drum rolls here?
No, I have it on a different...
They're not allowed.
Do you want me to do it?
This is okay. We could play the Fabulous Thunderbirds if we want to.
There's drums in that.
How about chimes, Preston?
It was part of the agreement to come here to Universal Studios. No drum rolls, please.
No drum rolls.
All right. Well, we're going to do the clips here. That's
that?
perfect. Yes. East London is buzzing with babies once more in the 12th season of Call the Midwife, and here's star Helen George. Talks about her excitement from reuniting with castmates. And hit it, Jason.
It's really lovely to be back. Because obviously I had half the series off last year to have a baby. So it's nice to be back, and it's nice to be coming back post COVID restrictions on set as well, because we were all saying it's nice to be close again and actually just be able to touch in scenes and do all the normal stuff that we're supposed to do.
Shut up, dummy.
Call the Midwife airs Sundays on PBS. Case, do you like that kind of English accent?
Wait,
that
I want to hear it again.
Play it
I was
again.
too busy trying to find a drum roll.
Jason, play a little bit more of that, please, because Casey's picky about his English accents.
It's really lovely to be back.
Yep.
Because
You
obviously
like
I
that
had
one?
half the series
All right,
off
thank
last
you,
year.
He doesn't like the Judda George.
Yes, a little more posh.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Barney Miller.
So, like, Hugh Grant has that, I
little
think,
bit,
very
yeah.
much so, yes. Yes, of course. All right, next clip. Drum roll.
This is the only drums I could find.
This is Hogan's Heroes?
It's just a snare drum cadence,
All right,
1776.
I like it. All right, so Shadow and Bone continues the story of a girl using her powers to reunite the world.
How about cricket?
In this clip, Jessie May Lee talks about her character's development in season 2. All right, Jason.
In season 2, she's finally accepted her responsibility, and we watch her struggle and, the immense weight of that.
Oh, shut up, woman.
Shadow
Is that the same? It sounds like the same actress.
No.
Okay.
I like her accent though.
Shadow and Bone season 2 is out now on Netflix. By
How
the
many
way,
freaking shows are out there that I mean, and
Never
I'm
heard
pretty
of.
good with this that I have absolutely not heard of at all.
my favorite reactions for you guys is when I go, and the 5th season will be debuting this week, and we're like, wait, what? What are you talking about?
The 5th and final season.
All right, that's it in the entertainment report. It is 7:05, so that means roughly an hour from right now, we're going to have your first chance to win a trip to where we are right now, Universal Orlando Resorts. And we're doing this photo hunt game, okay?
Yes.
The way this is going to work is I'm going to give you a clue at 8 o'clock, and you're going to go have to search and find what we're looking for in one of our videos and report back to us. I'm going to mention something that's in one of our pictures, and you have to report back to us. You have to be the designated caller that gives the correct answer, and then you win a trip for 2 to Universal Orlando Resorts with flights provided by Spirit. And this is day 1 of doing this, so we're doing this every day this week. And what you're going to do is go to PrestonandSteve.com, and it's the Preston and Steve Universal Photo Hunt Challenge link that you'll click on, and that's where the pictures are. There's just a few of them, and you'll have to give us an answer to the question that we ask a little bit
There's a
later on.
bit of work, but it's also easy if you apply yourself.
It's simple.
And before you know, you're off and running and experiencing some of the joy we've been having here.
Yeah, which we're going to be recapping shortly.
Yes.
Because we had such a great time yesterday, and we're broadcasting live from the studios. We're actually in the park. We got here, in the 5 o'clock hour. And by the way, this place is teeming with activity overnight because we were talking to Paula, who was our guide here this morning, and that's when they can get work done here.
Yes.
Yeah.
They work overnight.
It's around the clock.
To fix things and work on things while there are no guests here.
It reminds me of Westworld.
Yeah.
You know, like when they
Behind the scenes stuff.
Behind the scenes and stuff that was going on. But it was so cool because, I mean, there's music playing, equipment moving around, all this stuff happening, while the park is closed.
Yeah. All right, so we'll take a break and we'll come back from Universal Orlando Resort on 93.3 WMMR. Stay with us.
Preston and Steve.
That's beautiful. Sunshine tomorrow, high 62. Not too bad at all. Thursday, looking like getting close to 70. We do have some morning rain on that particular day, though. But we are here in sunny Florida. We're in Orlando, and we are at Universal Orlando Resort, broadcasting live from their radio broadcast center in the Minion studio, by the way.
Which is awesome.
And we just stepped outside on the Hollywood Boulevard, got some pictures. We're going to be sharing all this stuff. In fact, we're streaming as well if you want to check us out.
I see Marissa
on YouTube. And hey, it's Joshua, who is our guide from yesterday's VIP tour, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. He just popped by outside of the studios, which, by the way, when the park is open, people can walk right by here where we're broadcasting live.
Yeah.
It's a great setup. We're going to take a look at traffic, see what's happening back home. Kathy, what do you have for us this morning?
513 is closed in both directions. This is in Ben Salem between Byberry Road and Street Road, and it's because of a down pole. Schuylkill Expressway, we have volume building eastbound the Blue Road into Conshohocken. It's heavy the Boulevard to the Spring Garden. Westbound side, University to South Street, City to Belmont, and then again at the Conshohocken curve. Lancaster Avenue at Woodside Road in Ardmore, an accident there. 422 eastbound, so it's Trooper to First Avenue. 676 in Camden, southbound at Morgan Boulevard. The off-ramp has just reopened. There was a disabled vehicle there. Westbound is jammed as well. Also 55 northbound, heavy from Deptford to the 42 freeway. This traffic report brought to you by Wawa. Wawa's panini flavors are getting even bolder, like buffalo chicken with creamy mac and cheese. Try a new bold panini today. Gotta have a Wawa. And that's your traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
All right, thanks, Kath. So coming up around 8 o'clock, we're going to ask a question about some of the pictures that we have in the Preston and Steve Universal Photo Hunt Challenge section of PrestonandSteve.com. And we will have you, excuse me, try to give us, find the correct photo we're talking about, give us an answer to that. And later on, we'll ask you to call in, be the designated caller to do that and answer correctly. Then you're going to come here where we are. You're going to win a trip for two to Orlando, Universal Orlando Resort, and flights are provided by Spirit. So make sure that you are with us at that time. Over the weekend, you know, obviously we had broadcast live from Clearwater.
Right.
And we wrapped that up, and we spent Friday evening in and around that area. We all kind of went our separate ways and did our own things. And then Saturday, we all ended up here in Orlando, stayed Saturday night. And then yesterday, we had our VIP tour of the park. So, you know, we all kind of split up, and then we came together on Sunday. Saturday, I ended up doing the park for a little while. Everybody kind of hung out in their own. I ended up meeting up with Casey and Kyle. Mm-hmm.
So
we did some of the park.
You'd been here before. You'd done the full thing, as have I. And so I knew exactly what I wanted to hit. And, you know, and then I just kind of walked to some areas that I hadn't seen the last time I was here. But it's so usable and so accessible. And you know, you can just wander around to your heart's content, or you can get the tour if you want to. Yeah. Either way, you end up having a great time. So
there's the way, if you've never been to Universal, it's laid out in different sections. There are 3 parks, and there's an area called the City Walk. The 3 parks are Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, and then they have the Volcano Bay, which is the water park. And it's just a massive complex. It's just huge. And each section is unique into itself, which is really cool because you can kind of segue into a whole nother mindset, a whole nother world for a little while.
You do get transported. You do get that feeling.
But where I'm blown away is the part that's not even in the park. The City Walk is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, especially at night, it's like Vegas. I mean, it's just these huge lit up signs of restaurants and shows and things that you can go and do, and you're not even in the park yet at that point. And it's a massive complex. I told you, it makes me want to poop when I start going through there because I get all excited.
Yeah,
I get my bodily functions start working, and I have to find a bathroom.
Your body doesn't know how to process
it. By the way, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
You always feel regular.
So you've got so much to choose from here of those 3 parks, and you can just pick one of those parks and spend all your time there, or you can buy passes that can get you into each and every one if you want to do that. So they've got a variety of options for you to go through. But we met up on early on Sunday morning to do the full tour, and that's an option that you can choose as well. But they also have these express passes, which are fantastic because on Saturday, the day before, I ended up coming into the park, and obviously, we're here to broadcast live, so they gave us some special access, and they gave us these express passes, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll go take them out for a spin, see how that goes. I'm like, maybe it'll cut down a little bit on the wait time. Dude, I'm telling you. Like, there were you can find out the wait times on the rides, and the first one I hit was a Spider-Man, had a 40-minute wait. I was on in 5 minutes.
Yeah, so
5 minutes.
They say typically, well, what they tell you is that it's to expect half the time. However, it was like way under half the time.
Yeah. And then I went over to one of their newest rides, and we'll recap this a little bit, was the Velocicoaster, which, by the way, I've had the hardest time not saying Velociraptor.
Yeah, every time.
Because we have been saying that for years.
Yet my invention.
Yeah.
It's either the person who is, when you get sick and to your point, Preston, when you're vomiting and you have diarrhea, the Velociraptor was designed, but I have been having the same difficulty, but they're distinctly different things.
But it's a Velocicoaster. So that's a very popular ride here. And it was like I think it was like 70-minute wait. I got on in just under 20 minutes. And that's lightning fast compared to, spending an hour and change standing in line. So the Express Pass, it's a great deal, man. It works out fantastic. By the way, that coaster is insane.
Oh, my God.
And we'll talk about that.
I mean, we'll talk about that a bit more. But on this side, to me, this has so much that appeals to, adults and kids who are a little bit older, I think. But the experience is, again, even if you are processing through a line, they have so much going on that it's like a show unto itself.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry.
Yeah, they keep you occupied.
Absolutely.
If you had to end up waiting in line, and let's say you're in one of the Harry Potter attractions and you've been a fan of the movies and the books, there is so much minutia there for you to absorb and take in.
It's like a performance before you go in.
Yeah.
And there's a story told along the way as well. Each one of these rides has a story that is there about why you're going on this ride, what character is involved, what's the goal of this experience that you're going to go through, and it's really, really cool. And the parks cater to a lot of different, genres and things that you might be hyper-focused into. I know that one of the things I was really anticipating about this whole thing was actually Casey and Nick have never been here. Kath, have you ever been?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have been. But Casey and Nick hadn't been here. So a big part for me was watching these two guys
freak out,
experience this for the first time, and mainly Nick, because Nick is a diehard Harry Potter guy. So when we went into Diagon Alley eventually, which is one of the first places we went to yesterday on the tour, like all of us had our phones out and we were filming Nick to get his reaction when we came in.
It's like a kid on Christmas morning.
Yeah.
I mean it's a good description.
Read, Nick, and that you've been absorbing for so much of your life was presented to you yesterday as a real thing.
You see the movies, you read the books, you have your imagination as to what it's going to look like, and then you see TV commercials featuring this place, and you get an idea, or you see other people's social media posts. But then when you walk in, I kept using the same words over and over again, that it was magical, that it was amazing, that it was unbelievable. I quite literally could not believe that where I was standing was real. And you're looking at these places that, Preston, you mentioned this before, there is so much attention to detail that if you are at all a fan of the books or the movies, or even if you're not, it's just unbelievable how incredible it is.
That's because when we were done the tour, because we were moving from attraction to attraction, I said, when this is over, I want to go back to Diagon Alley. And I've been here before. I want to just stand in the road, and I just want to look and read all of the signs, because it's all over the place. There's just all these little bitty nods to, whether you've been a fan of the films or the books, little bitty Easter eggs all over the place of this minor character that was mentioned a couple times. His name is on that sign over there. And, they've really paid super duper close attention to the Uber fan.
And there's stuff that gets activated if you have a wand.
Yep,
all over. Activated all over the place. So it has that element of magic. And again, I say to you, I know if you're saying, that's not that's not my speed, come here and you will be seduced instantly. That's how it is. So energetic the way they are going about. It almost seems like we're going to get you, and they do.
Diagon Alley, in particular, is when you're in there, Nick. You'll probably notice this. Like, It's all hyper focused there. Like you can't be in there and look anywhere else and see any other part of the park. You can't see like a roller coaster popping up over here.
Yeah.
You can't see another where this park turns into something else. Like you are there, period. And I walked around to the back end of this place and I saw a little sign way back in the corner, and it said Bergen and Berks, and I'm like, oh, I remember that from the book. Let me go around the corner. And it led down to this alleyway into this part I've never been into before, and it was Nocturne Alley, man. I'm like, no way. Whole other part of the book, and it led to this other part that I'd never seen before. It was dark, and you had to like look where you were going, or else you might run into somebody or something. It was awesome.
Well, if you think about reading the books or watching the movies, there's so many details, and what J.K. Rowling did a great job of is creating this world and creating all of these little details and nuances within that world itself. They replicate that here.
Yeah.
So you're walking around Diagon Alley, and all of a sudden you see the sign for Nocturne Alley, and then you're looking at Borgin and Burke's, and like you're thinking about what you read about in the books at one point or so in the movies. It's remarkable. It was like dark when you get back there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, am I supposed to be back here?
Right.
Is this allowed?
Do I have glaucoma?
Yeah, and then you're like, no, wait, okay, this is a part of the attraction. But the other thing, Preston, is you don't even hear anything else in the park.
Yeah.
It's not like you can hear other coasters whipping by at some point. You know, you're not looking at
hot
anything.
rods racing.
Well, or just any distractions, Steve. There's very minimal distraction once you're in Harry Potter experience because it's focused on that. Even though outside of that, of course, there are plenty of other things to see and do in the
You hear
park.
the music too.
Yes,
Music
there's
from the movies
John
as
Williams
well.
music is in the background at all times.
You're not juxtaposed that far away from active roller coasters and rides, but you don't hear any of them once you're in there, which is a testament to the design of the setup there.
I didn't even think of it that way, that like you don't see anything else. Like you're right about that. You are in Harry Potter world. Like that's what you're in. And
if you were to see a Sunoco sign, it would kind of kill
that might kind of kill it.
Yeah, but
kinda
even
kill it.
any other aspect to the park, I didn't realize that until you said it.
What was the first ride we rode yesterday? The first attraction we went? Was it Gringotts? I think it was Escape from Gringotts, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
It was so long. I
know.
felt like yesterday was 2
Oh
days.
my God! By the end of the day, I was beat to death. I was so tired yesterday, and that's a good thing, obviously. But no, you can keep that going.
Okay,
I'm
good.
sorry, I'll bring that down a little bit. But I think that was the first ride we went on, and so if you have not done Universal and all the rides that they have at Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios and all this stuff, they do these kind of hybrid rides. Some of them where they are full motion and some of them on tracks and things like that. But they also include these immersive video 3D moments that bring you into this world with the real actors from these movies and shows and everything right there in front of you, and it looks amazingly real.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
it's
then,
jaw-dropping.
Then they add on like what you would call the 4D thing, the smells, the water, the wind, all of these environmental things.
Yeah.
I got so much sprayed in my face yesterday from the multiple rides because they use water a lot, and in the dark when you get that sprayed on you, it's like, what the hell was that?
Well, so Ollivanders is a huge thing, right? And you can get your wand there, and the wand chooses you, right, Nick?
Yes.
What I had no idea was that the wands actually work inside the park. You can move them, and then something happens.
Right.
At each different attraction. Were you guys?
There was like some lines. Like I saw a bunch of people with their wands waving in front of it.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, you can activate things in store windows, but
you can't do it without the wand because Casey tried to do it by moving his hand.
Yeah.
I have actual magic.
And not only that, you have to move them in a certain way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they give you the little instructions on how to do it, and like there's something different for Wingardium Leviosa. There's a special flick of the wrist, or you have to do a circle and then a cross or something. So there's various movements that you actually have to do. So they thought of it to that extent. You don't just point your wand at it.
Outside the Harry Potter realm, all of the stuff that, again, you have some really competitive rides. You guys got to ride Hagrid's ride for the first time, which is, I say, is my favorite roller coaster that I've ever been on, though it has a strong contender now that I was introduced to yesterday. But that is mind-blowing. There is a part in that ride, the first time, and I've ridden it now like 12 times, where you're in the dark and you feel the coaster drop.
Yeah.
and everyone freaks the hell out.
Well, one thing I didn't realize, Steve, until yesterday was that you have to take the Hogwarts Express to go from one Harry Potter land to another Harry Potter land. And so when we did that, that's a ride. That's an experience. There's stuff going on that train, which is really cool. Yeah. And then you get off the Hogwarts Express and you're in Hogsmeade, and that's where the Hagrid ride is.
Yeah.
And by the way, like I said, there are 3 different parks here, and if you just want to go to one park, if you go to either Universal or you go Universal Studios or you go to Islands of Adventure, each one of those has a separate Harry Potter. So Hogsmeade and the Hogwarts are at the Islands of Adventure, and then Diagon Alley and Gringotts and all that is over at Universal Studios. So you get Harry Potter no matter where you go. But if you do both, you go from park to park, then you've got the full.
But you get off the train and you wander out, and then all of a sudden you're looking up, and Hogwarts Castle is staring back at you, and you're walking through this Hogsmeade village where they have snow up on the rooftops, and really makes you feel like you're on a movie set.
They use forced perspective to create
very well.
To create the enormity and the height and all that stuff. So again, for all intents and purposes, you are there, and it's astonishing.
Did you guys get any butterbeer?
Of course I did.
Not.
Frozen.
Casey got 2.
I got 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, because I got 2 on Saturday, and then I got another one yesterday. Well, I didn't know, because the first one I got was just like a regular cold one.
Okay.
That you're not supposed to drink with a straw. You have to drink it, they recommend don't drink it with a straw. And then when we went to the Leaky Cauldron for dinner, they had the frozen variety. I was like, well, I have to try the frozen variety. And that was like, listen, regular was great. Frozen variety was just next level. It was so good. I loved it.
Casey also had a Flaming Moe yesterday.
I did.
From Springfield, the Simpsons area. Because you can go to Moe's.
Yeah, it's just orange soda.
It's orange soda.
They don't use the cough syrup that they use to
no, it's orange soda on dry ice.
Yeah, so they have this cup that fits dry ice in the bottom, so it's bubbling up the whole time. And Casey ended up, you cross streams when you're here as well, because he ended up in Diagon Alley walking around with a Flaming Moe, and all the wizards and warlocks were looking around, going, "What is that?
Yeah.
Where did you get that potion?" He's like, "It's a Flaming Moe."
Yep,
I got it in Springfield.
And there was so much left over dry ice because I went to go clean the cup out. And there's a separate compartment where the dry ice goes. So I put water in there. And so now it was just a bubbling water.
That's great.
I mean, people were, it was just turning heads. I'm like, they should really put the butterbeer on dry ice,
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
They really need to sell butterbeer all over the entire park because it is just that good.
So since, coming here a couple of times, I've been to here, and I've been to the one in Los Angeles as well. And I've been all about these immersive rides like the Transformers ride and the Harry Potter and Spider-Man and all that. But now I'm coming around. This park is a badass coaster park, man.
Yeah.
Because that Hagrid's ride was amazing as far as a coaster experience goes. But the Velocicoaster, which I think they debuted like a year or two ago here in the Jurassic Park World area, was a mother effer.
Next level.
The first
Oh, my
time
God.
I was here, which was just a couple of years ago prior to everything shutting down, that was under construction and couldn't get a real indication of what they were doing. And so got to see the realization of it. But that coaster is designed to scare the hell out of you. And it
Most people
does a great job.
weren't walking straight when they got off it. Like, I was watching people, and they were like, there were some people who had to like hold on to the railing for a second.
How it achieves that is because it has just basically a leg brace.
Yep.
I mean, you're in there tight. You're not coming out. But for a second, you do catch a bit of air as you lift out of your seat. And it does everything to exploit that. So I think it tops out at 72 miles an hour.
Yeah, so your shoulders are exposed. There's no restraints on your upper body, and it's a wild sensation. And it does upside down, extended upside down.
For a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Well, and what was cool about that was that like intense straight down drop that you get most times at the beginning of roller coasters doesn't happen till the middle of the ride.
Yeah, because it launches you. You use that linear induction, and it's like somebody lit a rocket under your butt.
Well, we're super lucky to be here in the first place, but even more so when that ride was finished, I was just like, we want to do it again. So our tour guide, Josh, took us right around, put us right back in line, and we got to go twice. And I was so excited to get right back on that ride. Because anytime you do, at least for me anyway, anytime you do a roller coaster, on your first experience, it's a little bit of sensory overload. There's so much coming at you at once that you get to do it again. You're like, oh, wait, this twist is coming up next. And I don't know. I just appreciate it a little bit more the second time around.
And that ability, that package that would allow you to do that is available to everyone. And I would encourage you to look at, what you can experience this again. And I know it sounds like a hard sell, but I'll tell you this again. Coming back for a second time in just a couple of years. It's that much of an escape. It's that cool, and the word magical is thrown around, but it is. So something that is easily accessible. Pick your level that you're comfortable at. Maybe if you want, put a little extra aside for the more enhanced experience. But whatever level you come into it at, you're going to have a great time.
By the way, I had to tap out on a couple of experiences yesterday. After we went on. You talk about riding a ride twice. Hagrid is their most popular ride here right now. And so we're like, we're going to go. We rode it once. Let's do it again. The second time messed me up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because there's not to give too much away, but there's a portion where you go in reverse.
Yes.
And going really fast backwards, I found out does not work for me. And I started to weigh it, and I'm like, we were going to a couple other attractions. I'm like, do I suck it up and get on another one? And ruin the rest of my day completely. So I took about an hour off, and I felt better afterwards. But that ride was badass. I just didn't know going backwards really fast.
Well, it's not like it's
messes me up.
We're just rolling back.
No.
At the same speed you went into it, you go backwards.
Yep.
And there are two different ways you can do the Hagrid's ride. You can be on the motorcycle, or you can be in the sidecar. And I was lucky enough to do both because I did it twice as well. The other thing about the Hagrid's ride, that it's so immersive that at one point I saw a crow flying by. And I'm like, how did Universal get the crow to fly by?
I said the same thing. I thought it was an owl.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, no, wait, that's just a bird that lives in the park.
Yeah. I've been working for Universal for quite a while. All of the birds here have a contract extended. We love it, really, though. We do it.
You have a union, right? I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, Preston. Thanks for being there. I saw you. I knew you were going to lose it in about a few minutes.
You, the crow.
Very sick, but you got off and slammed a few butterbeers, and you were fine.
Yeah. So there's a couple of parts we didn't get to visit, which we did walk through last night. I stuck around with some of us and had dinner, but the Whoville, the Dr. Seuss area, is really charming. Yeah.
And then, again, so sometimes you get mocked, but I love that Dr. Seuss ride. I love E.T., the E.T. ride.
Oh my God!
Yeah. And it's really very analog, all practical effects, miniatures and stuff like that. But it's wonderful.
Okay, so the E.T. ride, I love that ride. I was very excited to do that. But what I didn't know, which was awesome that the tour guide told us, was the smells, the three smells inside the ride. Once he told me, I was like, oh my God, I smell the pine. We're in the woods.
So yeah, Joshua, our guide yesterday, told us that there's almost a cult-like following for the E.T. ride.
I want to be part of it.
He said if they ever decided to decommission that there would be protests and it would be an uproar. And he said part of it is because of the smell of the ride. That you can go online and you can find, I'm not sure if they sell them here at Universal or not, but there are candles. And I know you hate scented candles, Kathy. But they create candles that are the smell of the E.T. ride
but
at
the
Universal.
final smell is Axe body spray.
It was. So it was pine for the beginning. You're in the woods. Then
and Stetson.
Then when the planet is sort of in disarray, it becomes like a smoky smell.
Right.
And then at the end, when it's re-energized and everything's back to beautiful, normal, he said, kind of like an Axe body spray.
Right. When you get to E.T.'s homeworld, it's clear that they're doing hallucinogens.
Yes, they are.
It's like a wonderful place, but it's like, man, there is a lot going on here.
I'm not a psychedelics guy, but I'm telling you what, driving through them, like, if I ever trip, coming here.
Preston, lick this blue thing.
Well,
you're gonna freak out, man.
You're supposed to go back to
back on Hagrid's ride.
E.T.'s Home Planet, right? Like it's a sequel to
Yeah,
E.T.
but Nick, I was a fully credited botanist on my home world, and now everyone wants to smell me.
Yeah. So it was little tidbits of knowledge like that we got from the guides yesterday. It was great.
I think my top two were the Velocicoaster and Hagrid's, but I really also enjoyed the King Kong ride and the Mummy ride.
Yeah.
Those were really well done. And the King Kong ride, there's a part of the, again, not to spoil too much, but like some of it's sort of CGI and I guess digital. And then there's a practical effect at the end that I was
awesome.
like, holy crap.
Yeah.
That made the ride.
That was impressive. And you mentioned the Mummy. The Mummy's been around. It's based on the Brendan Fraser Mummy franchise, and it's part. He was telling us that the director of the film had some input.
Stephen Summers, I think it is. Do a quick check on it, but he did Van Helsing. He did those movies. He always goes big with the stuff, but he was very key into designing that ride.
So his input was he wanted his two favorite things are haunted attractions and roller coasters, and he said, can we do both on this? And they managed to do it. So it's part haunted house type of vibe that goes into indoor roller coaster.
Indoor roller coaster
is
awesome, especially in the dark with flashes of light, and you can't, because you have no way to anticipate what you're going to go. On a regular coaster, you can say, okay, I'm going to go shoot way up and then drop down. But in pitch black darkness, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
Stephen Summers was his name.
Summers, okay.
Yeah. And they use fire really well in that one.
Very impressive, isn't it?
It is.
Just wandered over from my ride. You spent about 9 seconds with me and then figured, let's move on to something more engaging. I get it. I've been getting this all the time I've been on Earth.
When we're done today, we have a couple more hours before we fly out. Is there anything else you guys are going to try and go do, or maybe go buy, or anything that you didn't get a chance to do yesterday?
Well, Kathy's son was raving about, was it the rocket coaster?
Yeah,
the
it's right here on this side. Yeah,
I didn't get to do that yesterday. We didn't get to do that, so I might want to check that one out.
That was the one where I was screaming, "I will survive," because you get to choose which song you listen to, and I was so nervous that, like, right as I didn't look through the songs, and I just hit the first one.
When you do that ride, make sure you're locked in, because it takes you in all different angles, and it's really cool. But it helps if you're locked in.
Steve is correct. Try to stay as still as you can.
I'm going to try to hit. I definitely want to ride another ride, but I want to go to the SpongeBob store pants, is what it's called. There's a full SpongeBob store.
Yeah,
it's huge.
The
I want to go to that.
I don't know if you guys saw when we were walking by, but the characters were in the window. I was like, I kind of want to go see them. I know. It was Patrick, and I couldn't see who the other one was. It wasn't SpongeBob, but it was somebody else from the show.
It was Pat Riley.
Yes,
Pat Riley.
Yeah,
he's one of the. But Preston, just walking around, we're on the Hollywood side, the side that's supposed to replicate Hollywood with the Brown Derby and all of this stuff. That alone, just walking through, there are people dressed as famous, iconic characters, but. It's clean. It's cool. There's always stuff going on. Next to us is the diner from American Graffiti.
Oh, awesome!
Which is amazing.
Did you see Popeye in olive oil?
I did. I saw them yesterday. I didn't see too many characters yesterday. Wherever our travels were taking us, I didn't see too many. But I've seen here before the Scooby-Doo gang is running around. The Simpsons,
Mardi Gras stuff going on. Crazy.
But they have and they also do these experiences with. Optimus Prime,
right?
And who's the bad guy?
Megatron.
And Megatron, thank you. And they do experiences with velociraptors and stuff like that. These they're not animatronic. They can move these things at their will and do really.
Have you been to the ET ride?
Yes, I have been to the ET ride.
Yes,
thank you.
Right. So you get sick over there on the other ride.
It's interesting. And
it's a cool effect. They're amazing. What I miss is that they usually have a lot of times they have the actors in the Transformer in the robots.
Yeah.
And they engage with the passersby. It's very funny. They're doing almost like crowd work. It's great.
Well, you know what? So we did get a little bit of a taste of that right outside of Diagon Alley with the head from Harry Potter.
Yes,
Nick, what is that?
And from Azkaban, he's on the bus that goes. The
night bus
shrinks. Yeah, the night bus that shrinks. And then so there was sort of the old Cockney style British dude would engage with you, and then the shrunken shrunken head can talk to you, and like there's somebody somewhere looking at you.
Yeah, he's really talking to you. He's on rote answers.
It was really funny.
So they have things like that. And there's, like you said, Steve, there was a Mardi Gras band marching around and stuff. And they do a nightly parade that goes somewhere into April, I think.
Yeah, well, I got the dates here.
Okay.
I mean, the Mardi Gras celebration goes through, April 16th.
Oh, cool.
I mean, so there's plenty of time to get down here for that.
So a little bit later in the day, we took the Hogwarts Express back to the other side of the park, and unfortunately, our intern Victoria, we didn't have a printed ticket for her, so we had to step aside to guest services, and it all worked out just fine. But the reason that it worked out just fine was a guy named Justin from New Hope was working at the desk, and he said, so we got to chatting, and he said, "What are you guys doing here?" I said, "Well, we're doing a radio station show," and he said, "Oh yeah, where are you from?" "Outside Philly." "What's the radio station?" "MMR." He's like, "MMR?" And I was like, "Yeah, I work on the Preston and Steve show." And he says, "You work for Preston and Steve?" On the other side of King's Cross Station was Preston. So I go, "Hey, Preston!
What?
Justin wants to say hi."
Oh, what's up? Oh,
So,
he's from New Hope.
Justin
Wow.
from New Hope, thank you so much for your help in getting Victoria her ticket. And Justin wanted us to give a shout out to Kyle from Point Pleasant. So Justin from New Hope and Kyle from Point Pleasant, thank you guys so much.
And then also, hello to Leanne Shine. Press, we ran into her on Saturday night.
Cherry Hill East High School. Yeah.
That's funny.
We're leaving.
crazy.
We're leaving the park, and we hear, "Preston! Oh, my God, I can't believe you're here!" I'm like, well, Casey's here, too. It was great. She was awesome, and she thanked us for being her companion in the car.
And she said, "I want to send an apology to Kyle." She said I was so rude, and that was not my intention. So I don't remember her being.
She said she was kind of going, "Yeah, it's Kyle, but I don't know you, Kyle. That's okay." Blah 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 blah. And just, yeah.
And what about the intern here at
Nolan.
Universal, Nolan?
What?
Also from Reading.
Oh, from Reading.
Yeah.
The only reason he's here this morning is because he knew that we were coming this morning.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. He got special permission from Universal and our friend Paula, who's been helping us out with so many things, and then Carrie
that's awesome.
as well. So Nolan wanted to make sure. I mean, he's interning for Universal. He's like, "Any chance I could come see Preston and Steve?" So he went up the Universal ladder, and then they said, "Yeah, it's okay," and we made sure that he.
Did you want to say a quick hi to Paul, or do we want to?
Nolan.
To Paula?
Yeah.
Oh, Paula.
Well, we can't right now because it's 10 of 8.
Oh,
so,
okay.
but
We'll
maybe
do it later
if
on,
we get
yeah.
a chance, we can do that. But we do need to take a break because we still have more to talk about being here. But I want to try to stay as close to on time as we can.
We have stuff to give away
For that 8 o'clock photo hunt that we're going to do, and your chance to end up where we are here at Universal Orlando Resort. And we have a trip for 2 and airfare provided by Spirit as well. So it's a pretty sweet deal.
That's more than sweet.
Yeah, and it's one of 5 that we're going to give away. So why don't we go ahead and take a break? Come back in a second. We'll do the bizarre file, and it'll be close enough to 8 that we'll get this whole thing started. So we'll come back in a second live. Universal Orlando Resort on MMR.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
right. All right. Hey, it is 7:59, so we're right on the edge of giving away a trip. Oh my God! To Universal Orlando Resort. You want to stay with us because we're going to tell you exactly how to do that in a moment or two. But we're broadcasting live. Just tuning in. We are indeed in Florida. We're in Orlando. We're at Universal, and we are in their studios in the Hollywood Boulevard section of the park, which will be opening up in just a little while. And we want to send you here. That's all there is to it. So let's take a look at traffic. We'll get to the nitty-gritty in a moment. Kathy, what's up?
95 southbound jams from Girard to the Vine Expressway. Once you get to the Vine, westbound direction is slowing from 95 to the Schuylkill eastbound side from the Schuylkill to Broad. Schuylkill eastbound slows from 202 into Gulf Mills, and then from the Blue Route into Belmont, westbound side, University to South Street. Jams the Boulevard to the Vine, also slow near Conshohocken. On 295 out in Bucks County, we had some issues earlier this morning with an accident. That's now cleared. However, in Ben Salem, 513 is still closed between Byberry Road and Street Road, and that's because of a down pole. Blue Road southbound slows from Ridge Pike to the Schuylkill Expressway, and then the Media bypass to Baltimore Pike. Northbound side from Baltimore Pike to Media. 30 bypass eastbound slowing 340 to 113. Pennsylvania Turnpike westbound backs up from Virginia Drive to Fort Washington. In New Jersey, 42 north slows 41 to 55. 55 northbound heavy from Deptford to the 42 freeway, and then you're jammed at 295 both directions between 42 and Warwick Road. This traffic report brought to you by Acme. Hey, it's me, Food. From when the pros at Acme hand me off to when I'm cleared from your plate, we go through a lot together. I'll keep showing up fresh. Sincerely, Food. Sincerely, Acme. And that's your traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
Thank you, Food. All right, it is now time for the Preston and Steve Photo Hunt Challenge and your chance to win a trip to Universal Orlando Resort. It's happening right now. Here is the clue for you. Which part-time Florida resident and Fightin' Phil is posing with Casey? This is in the Preston and Steve Universal Photo Hunt Challenge section of PrestonandSteve.com. So go to the website now. Go to PrestonandSteve.com. Click on the Preston and Steve Universal Photo Hunt Challenge, and then let us know. You have to be caller number 25. Which part-time Florida resident Fightin' Phil is posing with Casey? 215-263-WMMR. Correctly identify that answer to the clue. You could win a trip for two to Universal Orlando Resort with flights provided by Spirit. All right, is that how we're doing this?
That's how we're doing it.
We're taking the winner right now, right?
Hey, buddy.
All right. What?
No, I didn't know we were taking the winner right now.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Exciting.
I think we can do that at any way we want, but I want to do it right now. I'm so excited. I want this to happen. So make sure that you go right now and be the 25th caller and let us know which part-time Florida resident, Fightin' Phil, is posing with Casey. All right, 215-263-WMMR. And we will do the Bizarre File. All right, Jason, let's go.
Now, WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Where's that sound coming from? All right,
There you go, Paula.
it's brought to you this morning by your friends at Pro Team Collision. You shouldn't be good at getting into an accident, but if you do, your friends at Pro Team Collision are there to help with all of your auto body repair needs. Visit ProTeamCollision.com. We're going to start with this. A security guard in Pittsburgh was dragged from a truck as he tried to stop thieves who took a giant foam carrot from the Clearview Mall.
No, a giant foam carrot.
The 3-foot carrot was part of an Easter display, and the mall's security guard gave chase when suspects appeared to take the carrot and run to a Chevy pickup. The guard attempted to open the truck door and then was dragged for a quarter mile at about 35 miles an hour. Now, he wasn't injured, thankfully.
Was there an enormous rabbit sitting in the back of that vehicle?
Anyone with information is encouraged to notify local authorities. So,
no idea as to why they would clip that?
I hope it was worth it, guys.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking they were just doing something stupid.
Right, a prank.
And then it turned into, oh my God, we got to get out of here. We're going to get in trouble.
We lost a lot of good men that day.
Yeah. And now we dragged the security guard for a quarter mile, and we're going to jail. So this viral teenage prank has resulted in several arrests in Japan. It's called sushi terrorism. Did you guys see this?
No. Sushi terrorism.
Yeah, the prank involves contaminating food at conveyor belt sushi restaurants.
Yes, it's disgusting.
By pouring wasabi, licking, or otherwise tampering with the fish.
So it's like, you remember a while ago, people were taking the tops off of ice cream at refrigerated sections of supermarkets?
Yep.
It's the same thing.
So viral videos on social media show the high schoolers touching raw fish with a licked finger and licking soy sauce bottles. Shishiro, a popular chain, has seen its parent company stock drop in the aftermath of these incidents.
That's not the right one. Go ahead.
Police have arrested several social media influencers connected to the trend.
So this is really prevalent right now?
Yeah, apparently.
Wow.
The crime of forcible obstruction of business carries a maximum penalty of 3 years, by the way, so they could get in quite a bit of trouble.
Are you comfortable with that stuff passing by on a conveyor belt?
I've never done the conveyor belt sushi thing, so I don't know about that.
I went to a place that had it at just regular food, almost like an automat kind of thing. I'm not down with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So Kevin Witherspoon died unexpectedly last week. Frank Chapman, who was saying in a comment about Corey Curlin Funeral Homes and Crematory in Jacksonville, he said, they took care of my mom really good, so I was expecting them to do the same thing with my brother. He said his family paid more than $2,000 for an hour-long visitation for family and friends. Witherspoon was supposed to be cremated after the fact. Instead, they ended up with more grief. Chapman said, I went down there yesterday to check on the clothes for him, and they didn't say anything. They said everything was fine, but later on, around 4, they called me and they told me they accidentally cremated him.
They cremated him before the viewing?
Yes, they did.
So that's why there was a large photo of him in the coffin?
Yes, the news, it was extremely shocking for loved ones who traveled from all around the country to say goodbye. Witherspoon's brother-in-law, Ronald Jackson, said the most painful part was not being able to sit and look at him.
That's not my brother. That's a cardboard cutout of Han Solo.
He said, you see...
I know.
He said, see with my own two eyes, my brother-in-law.
Well, was he a Star Wars fan?
The funeral director would not comment on what happened.
What he was a non-incinerated body.
Jackson said that he would like the funeral home to be held responsible and learn from his family's grief. So.
I wonder how often that happens. I mean, because if that's part of the process, I guess it can happen occasionally.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do to piece them back together.
Not that I have heard of as far as
That's a brother milkshake I'm holding.
Oh my God. Former manager of Walmart in Northern Illinois has been arrested months after police say she stole more than $100,000 from her store. In one shot. She wasn't bleeding it. She just took it all.
In cash or merchandise?
In cash, I believe.
Wow. In cash, because merchandise, what are you going to find at Walmart that's going to total $100,000?
Melissa Vanderwall was working as a night manager for a Walmart in Joliet when she left the store with $135,000 in cash. She emptied money from cash recyclers that are used to restock the store's cash registers. Vanderwall then abruptly ended her shift and exited the store with the money in a shopping bag.
You have to think a lot of this stuff is to get money for drugs, right? I mean, to do something that obvious and that stupid?
Maybe so, yeah. Surveillance footage captured Vanderwall stealing the money, and a warrant was issued for her arrest. And court records show that Vanderwall was taken into custody on Tuesday, March 7th, and she reportedly turned herself in. I wonder what the most expensive thing at a Walmart might be.
The Fabergé eggs.
The Fabergé eggs.
Yeah. Electronics.
Yeah, electronics, automotive.
USB connectors and jerky.
And jerky. I didn't even think.
And live bait.
Yeah.
Shotgun shells.
I'm surprised they had that much cash on hand at that store.
Yeah.
Well, you got some high rollers coming. They'll say, we're having a whale come in tonight.
It is like the Bellagio
from Dubai, not Abu Dhabi.
Oh my God. Well, the
people in Dubai don't like the Flintstones, but the people from Abu Dhabi do.
This is true. We have learned that from history. All right, there we go. And that's what I have in the bizarre file for you. We're going to wrap up right there. All right, so we're looking to give this away. Right now, we have a trip to Universal Orlando Resort to give.
I'm so excited about this, to be able to pass this on to other people.
And this is for 2 people, and flights are provided by Spirit. So all we have to do is go get a winner and make somebody extremely happy. So we're going to go to the phone lines, and I was looking for... Hang on, I got beads all over my mouth. It's Mardi Gras down here, by the way, so they've got beads everywhere. So we were going to go to caller number 25, and that just so happens to be Phil, who's on the line. Hi, Phil. Good morning.
Good morning. Gadzooks.
Gadzooks to you, Phil. You feeling good, man?
I'm feeling excellent today. How are you feeling?
We're wonderful. We will do even better if we find out that you win this trip to Universal Orlando Resort. So I'm going to ask you this question, Phil. Let's see if you know the answer to it. Which part-time Florida resident and Fightin' Phil is posing with Casey in our Preston and Steve Universal Photo Hunt Challenge?
Reese Hoskins.
He says it's Reese Hoskins, and he would be correct. I am so happy for you, Phil.
Wow. Dude, this is awesome.
So, Phil,
I'm so happy. This is fantastic. Yes.
You have won yourself a trip for two, and you are coming to where we are now, to Universal Orlando Resort, and flights are provided by Spirit. And from sending you on a high-speed coaster to putting a towering volcano right outside your hotel room, nobody tests the limits of absolute awesome like Universal Orlando Resort, and you are going to be here, my man.
This is awesome. WMMR is awesome.
Have you ever been here before, Phil?
I have been there a long time ago when the kids were little, but we just came back from Walt Disney World about 2-3 weeks ago.
All right, so this is gonna rock your world.
Yes. We're gonna love it.
All right.
We love you guys.
Thank you so much. Hang on just a second, Phil. We'll get all of your information, and we will set you up with a trip to the place, Orlando, Universal Orlando Resort. And I can't wait to hear how all 5 of these separate winners are going to feel after they experience what we've done the past
We've
few
never
years.
had a conga line of trips of this level to give away. I mean, we've given away some pretty badass trips over the years, but to have this throughout the entire week is pretty amazing. And it was a lot of the predicate for doing this, you know, and coming down. We've been wanting to come here for years.
Yes.
We just figured we were a pariah, but we finally made it down. We know our show's a little different than a lot of the ones that come through here, but no, they've been fantastic.
Yeah. Turns out you need to reach out to them and tell them, you know, how much you want to come here. And then they
beg a lot.
And then they say, yes, you can. It's a wonderful thing. All right, so with that done, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back in a second. We're starting to see guests mill in and about the area as the park is opening up. We're sitting here in the Hollywood Boulevard section of Universal Orlando Resort, so we'll return in a little bit on MMR. Stay with us.
Preston and Steve
on 93.3 WMMR.
93.3 WMMR. It's everything that rocks. And pretty reckless. Only love can save me now. Preston Steve shows up at 8:21. It is indeed a Monday morning. We have a new word of the week prize this week, giving away a $500 Joseph Anthony Retreat Spa and Salon gift card. So we'll get the letter of the day at the end of the program. If you're just tuning in, we are broadcasting live from Universal Orlando Resort, and we are on Hollywood Boulevard.
This is so cool.
Hollywood, yeah. And the park is now opening up for the early entry, so people are starting to mill about. We're getting some activity.
It's cool to see that.
Oh, it's great. And we got, we came in, obviously, way before the park opened, but it was already teeming with activity because they do the work overnight here.
I couldn't believe how much activity there was back here with all the work. I mean, it makes sense, but I just didn't realize.
Most definitely. So we just gave away a trip. We're pretty excited about that. That's number 1 of 5 for the week. So tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., another opportunity for you to win a trip right here where we are. And we're going to get some of the details in a little bit. But right now, let's take a look at traffic. Then we're going to welcome a guest. Kathy, what's going on this morning?
513 remains closed in Ben Salem between Byberry Road and Street Road, and that is because of a down pole. 95 southbound, slowing Academy to Cotman Girard to the Vine Expressway. Northbound side from Highland Avenue to Curlin Street. The Vine eastbound jams the Schuylkill to Broad. Westbound side from 95 to the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill eastbound slows from 202 into Belmont, heavy the Boulevard to the Vine. Westbound past Yonk to the Vine, the Boulevard out to Belmont, and then again from Gladwin to Conshohocken. Pennsylvania Turnpike westbound, slowing Virginia Drive to Fort Washington. Route 70 westbound at Springdale Road. This is in Cherry Hill. An accident off to the left shoulder. 295 southbound jams at 168. There was an accident. That is now gone. 55 northbound heavy from Deptford to 42. This traffic report brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Explore the tropics now at Whole Foods Market with deals on fresh produce plus limited time picks on meat, bakery, and beyond. Don't miss the Festival of Fruits, Flavors, and Finds through March 28th. And that's your traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
All right, thank you, Kathy. When we hit the road with the show, and, we've been doing this for a ridiculous amount of years, we usually try to replicate some form of what we do in our studio back at the radio station. And Rodney is a genius and comes up with these great ways, to set up and make sure we feel comfortable and we have a good broadcast situation. Obviously, we were at the ballpark on Friday in Clearwater, and then we come here. Totally different story. Great studios, beautiful studios here at Universal, which are made for this very thing, for the radio shows to come in and do their show and talk about what a great time they're having, which is what you do when you come here to Universal. And so we're lucky to have a spot that feels very, very comfortable doing our radio show. Like sometimes you have these things you got to work out, and through the entire show, it just doesn't feel right. This feels pretty damn good.
Yes. Oh,
yeah. So we thank our friends at Universal for setting us up with this. And we have one who is here with us. We just met her this morning, but Nick, you've been in contact with her for a while, right?
So instrumental in making all of this happen, and we wouldn't be sitting here right now if not for our next guest.
All right, our friend Paula is here with us this morning. Paula, hold on. What happened there? All right, Paula, what is your last name, by the way?
Paula Bowers.
Bowers. All right, and where are you from, Paula? Before
Universal?
Universal, yes.
I'm originally from upstate New York.
Oh, no way. Whereabouts?
Saratoga.
Saratoga with the racing and all that stuff.
Right,
you weren't involved in racing, were you? You a bookie?
I bet a lot. Don't ask my husband why I got that Nairo app on my phone.
What's your position here? What's the title?
I am a retired employee.
Really?
Team member here from Universal. I retired a little over a year ago, and I come back and I help when they need help on production.
I heard you say earlier that you retired, but it didn't work.
Yeah, I failed miserably.
Well, so I've been chatting with a woman named Carrie for the better part of 2 months or so, and then Chantal has also been really helpful in making sure that all the prizing has worked out, and then the broadcast itself. But Carrie is actually driving down today from New York to Orlando, so in her stead, Paula has stepped in and been able to be really, really helpful for us. So once we got here, I was started chatting with Paula, I guess, on Thursday or Friday, and then made sure that everything went well yesterday and everything went well today, and it's been great.
Hey, you know what, Paula, and I don't know what level of expertise. How long were you a team member here?
Officially a team member for 11 years.
11 years, all right. So you
10
know
years before that.
You know a thing or two about this resort.
Please don't ask me.
So listen, Steve and I
test my brain. I'm retired.
Well, we were just wondering out loud earlier, like how many people work here to keep this whole thing going. I mean, Thousands? Hundreds? Thousands?
Last time I remember, it was over 10,000.
Oh,
my God.
It would have
Well,
to be.
you have all the resorts.
Yeah.
You have the 3 theme parks, and then you have the creative team, which is building the new parks.
Okay.
So
And there is a new park that is, we heard
Epic.
2025. Is that the expected opening?
That's the rumor.
Wow. Okay. And there was a thing that appeared online with a Mario Kart ride that I think is part of that. So it's
I
going
can
to be
neither confirm nor deny.
no. Yeah,
I love how they
keep things secret.
They keep things secret. When last time I was here, I forgot what year it was, but they were constructing the King Kong Skull Island attraction.
Yes.
And we were on a tour. We had a tour guide, and they had all the the fences up and everything. You could not see in there. And they were like, I can't show you guys a peek of that at all. I would be fired like that. And there was somebody that was climbing up to try and see over the fence, and like security came over immediately. There was like, no, we cannot allow this. They keep everything very, very close to the vest when it comes to new attractions.
When I was walking you in this morning, the construction on
Despicable or Minions.
Minions. It was, let's just keep walking this way.
Right. There's a new ride coming.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I found amazing though, because a few of you guys had been here before, is that there's always something new. You know, even if you come back next year or in 2 years to this park, something will have been phased out, and then a new thing has come in. And Steve, you weren't able to do the Velocicoaster a couple times ago, and now it's here. And so, like for that, even though you were here relatively recently, it was a new coaster for you this time around.
In fact, they sort of threw me off the scent because I was asking a lot of questions, and then they brought me back and beat me with the rubber hose.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, sure.
So they were throwing me off the trail about what it was going to be, and I thought it was going to be something entirely different. But no, it's very cool. And I was, the fact that a 4th park is kicking in and that you have all these options is great. But for all of the, all of the amount of people that are here and all of the things that are constantly going on, there's the staff, very helpful. I mean, there's, you're not just wandering going, what the hell's going on?
Everybody's happy to be here.
To be able to give that sort of, you do have a sort of one-on-one, you're being taken care of feeling, which a lot of times you don't get.
Well, management really empowers the team members to make the guests happy.
Yeah, and they do. Damn it, they do.
Yeah, you could tell. I was talking about that yesterday, about everybody had a smile for us, and it was pleasant, and even when there was like a hiccup or something like that, the team members wanted to help out, and it's the experience to the customer, the guest.
And I think, and not only that, but like with one another, you can see that there's a great kinship between employees.
Yeah.
In fact, we had Joshua was giving us a tour, and at one point we stopped, and he was telling us something about the attractions, and there was a dude on stilts. It was right by the Mummy. And the dude on stilts came over and started interacting with Joshua, and I was like, I'm like, do these guys know each other? I feel like they know each other, but
Probably
Joshua
not.
just kept going on with his spiel. And,
a guy on stilts with like jacked pecs. Really, dude was in some serious shape.
Well, he's supposed to be like an Egyptian guard.
It was great.
They're not going to give that to anybody.
And you walk through these attractions, and you walk down the street, and you get in line, and you're waiting in line for a ride or attraction, and you just... Everybody is blown away with the attention to detail, and it's you could go on and over decorate something or over design something, but it's not, and just everything is meticulous. And Nick, you're just talking about the Harry Potter world, and I just, I don't even have the words.
I'll give you an example. So we were in this waiting area before Hagrid's ride, and we were underneath this big pavilion. It went up, a few stories, and it's supposed to be the inner workings of like a clock tower. And inside there, you could look up if you had the time to stop and look around, and there are fake owls that are up in there. Well, not only were there owls up there, and not only did it look properly weathered as if it had been there for ages and ages, but there were bird crap stains that were,
painted on.
Perfect detail. And that's the thing. So if you have idle time and you end up either having to wait or you're waiting on other people, some friends or family members have gone on to do something else, there's something to the eye that can occupy you for a while.
No, absolutely.
And if you look, if you take the time to look, I mean, it's all sensory overload. That's why multiple days here is key, because then you get to zone, you get to focus in a little bit more. Your focus becomes more precise, and you can see these little details that just make you go, man, really?
It's kind of tricky.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Bird crap painter. You could probably apply.
That's a job.
Yeah,
you could certainly do that.
You could do
for the
that in
realism.
retirement.
So,
Scenic.
You say you've retired, but how often are you called back? Are you here constantly?
Enough to earn some travel money.
All right, there you go.
And this facility here, the broadcast facility, is that one of your main?
Yes.
Okay, all right. It's very cool.
Yeah.
We feel right at home here.
Yeah, most definitely.
I enjoy having you.
I know we come in a little bigger, but we appreciate all the accommodations you made.
There was more than one moment yesterday where we're wandering around, and it is a bit of sensory overload, because especially when you go from one part to the other, you're like, oh wait, wasn't I just in Harry Potter land, and now I'm in the Jurassic Park world or whatever. But I was saying this to Preston when we were walking through the Simpsons section of the park. Somebody 30, 35 years ago, Matt Groening or whomever, had a drawing and made a joke about Moe's and Duff beer and whatever else. And now you're sort of living in that experience. And that to me is really surreal. All of a sudden you're drinking, a Flaming Moe or a Duff beer right out of the tap. Yeah. And you're looking to the left and you're like, oh, there's King Toots and whatever else. Like that's the way that they've replicated something from a cartoon that's been on air for 34 years now and made it a living experience is nothing short of miraculous.
Is a Jimmy Fallon ride.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're like,
So
how
awesome.
do you turn the Tonight Show into a ride? And they did, and it was fun. A lot of fun.
And talk about, things to do while you're waiting. Like, I loved that little waiting area.
Yeah.
A little huge waiting area. But, you see all the history and the different hosts, and it was cool.
Yeah.
To the barbershop quartet.
Yeah.
The Roots. The music of the Roots was played. Yeah.
I'll tell you a little secret
Okay.
that a lot of people don't realize is that when you are here with family and sometimes somebody doesn't want to do a ride, they don't get to experience. They sit outside on the steps and they wait for the family to come out. However, they can go through the ride queue
Right.
and decide not to ride the ride. And then they can do a child swap if they have kids, or just wait for everyone, because there's so much information in those queues.
Oh, yeah.
That they miss it by waiting outside.
Well, we had an experience like that yesterday. We rode the Velocicoaster. Casey and I did, and we're in line, and there's a father and the son was probably 10, 11 years old, something like that, Case.
Yeah.
And he's going, I don't know, as we're getting closer. And Casey and I are going, come on, man, you got to do this.
I said, this is the best roller coaster I have ever been on in my entire life.
Yep. And I think they had been on Hagrid's, and they were like, better than Hagrid's? We're like, yeah, very well might be better. I mean, it's a different thing. And so we get all the way up. We're getting on the cart. The kid's jumping on, and he walked all the way through. And we were like, oh, man. But while in line for that, there's some really cool stuff. They have this part where you're supposed to be in the containment area for the velociraptors, and they have these essentially velociraptor heads that come through the wall, and they're restrained.
Right.
But they're animatronics. You can see they're resisting, and they're moving around. Their eyes are blinking. They're kind of snarling and making that noise out of their nose. And I was just fascinated by that. I took some video of it, some close-up video. So you have that, and then there's a little storyline that goes in there with Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. And they present to the audience, and you're learning why you're there and what went wrong and why the velociraptors are out and why we need to be careful. And it's things like that. So that is a little show in unto itself,
Yes, and a lot of people miss it because they're waiting. They don't want to go on the ride, and they sit outside in the heat and the sun. And they miss so much of the attractions. They don't have to ride them.
Yes.
They can still change their mind at the last minute.
It's comfortable inside those
air conditioning.
those
Many
queues.
places to wait,
And like in the Harry Potter realms, as you're going through the line, there's the talking paintings. There's the fat lady. There's
owl crap.
There's owl crap all over the place.
Screaming Myrtle.
Moaning Myrtle.
Moaning Myrtle.
Yes. Yeah. And it's that whole full experience to the waiting in line. And they also do the thing which I think designers, I mean, just I take it all in as to when you're in kind of those switchback lines. There's a lot of turns, so you're not looking at this ridiculously long line of people going, oh my God, when are we going to get there? You turn the corner, you go into a new room. There's more people standing in line, but it's a new room. And there are other things for you to look at and to take in. And so they move you from room to room and entertain you in each room. And so it can make the time fly right by.
No, it's absolutely set up. You guys have been doing this for years. So it's absolutely set up the right way. So,
And the app is great, too, because if you use the Universal app, it literally will tell you the waiting times. And if I recall, Paula, because we had a tour guide yesterday, so I didn't get to use it, but can you set up alerts for when there are shorter lines?
Alerts and virtual queues for some of the lines.
Virtual queues?
Yeah, you can go and
stand in line without standing in line?
Stand in line without standing in line.
Shut up.
Get the hell out of here.
Get out. Who the hell are you?
Oh, that's amazing.
No, I didn't know that.
You had the VIP tour. We got
we did get privileged.
You got privileged.
Yep, we got privileged, but it was so we could share these experiences with you.
Yeah.
But that express line, that express pass is no joke.
Yep.
Staying at the on-site hotels is really a great benefit that some other theme parks don't allow you to.
So wait a minute. So if you stay at the hotel properties, you get an express pass?
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay.
At some of the premium hotels, yes.
And free early entry.
Park admission.
Which, by the way, so we're looking at early park admission and people walking through the streets. I don't know why, but it makes me antsy and feels like I should go get in line.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to miss out. We're going to miss out.
Yeah. Just wrap up the show right now.
Right. I know. It's only 8:37.
Preston and I had a few minutes before dinner last night. I'm like, I think we could probably get on Velocicoaster one more time. So we did.
Yep.
And then after that, we went to what I think was named the best restaurant in all the theme parks in all the land. We went to Mythos last night for dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, can you talk about
Favorite.
that? Yeah.
Favorite. I haven't been there in a while, but it is chef awarded restaurant on site, fine dining, and it has won numerous awards over the years for theme park dining.
It's a Mediterranean, right? Is that
a little bit of this and that?
Yeah.
It's got some other things too.
Yeah, pad thai used to be my favorite.
Yep, they had that, and there was ravioli and other things.
Yeah.
But you could get I had a couscous kebab thing. Yes. But listen, when you think theme park food, automatically my mind goes to very specific things, burgers and
cakes.
I had a corn dog.
Casey had a corn dog.
I had a corn dog.
And you can find that here if you want it. But over in Diagon Alley, I had, it was called Toad in a Hole.
Yeah. I think it was called, at the Leaky Cauldron.
Yes. And that was a sausages cooked in a Yorkshire pudding.
Oh.
Yeah. And by the way, if you want booze at your theme park, you have found it.
Universal.
You have found it. And you know what? I
especially during Mardi Gras.
Oh yeah, it's Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you that I experienced nothing but pleasant people. I'm talking about the other guests. I didn't see anybody being rude to me personally or anything like that, which you can almost guarantee any theme park I've ever gone to, you run into a couple people here and there. But I think it's because of the booze. I think everybody's I think everybody's happy.
Yeah.
They found the solution.
Just keep everyone snockered.
But no, I mean premium cocktails, like the real deal, not well drinks and stuff like that, and different varieties of beer. They had I had a sweet stout at the Leaky Cauldron.
Got back to the
Wizard's Brew.
We took the boat ride in and out yesterday from where we were staying, the hotel, and I'd never been on a boat taxi like that before, which was fun. It's a really cool and convenient way to get into the park. But Kathy and I got around to the boat around the same time. Kathy had a margarita, and she was.
They were like, "You can't ride with that." I was like, "Oh, really?" The guy goes, "Yeah, really. There's a giant sign right here." I was like, "All right." So I was like, "All right, I'll go wait with Nick."
But you can wait in line on the attractions with a pounder in your hand if you want to. They have trash cans along the way. Kyle, we were going to a ride on Saturday, and he went and got a Heine, a fresh, pounder Heine 16-ouncer. And we're about to go stand in line to ride. I'm like, I think he's going to have to throw that away. No. Stood in line, enjoyed it. There are other people enjoying theirs as well. And just as long as you got to get rid of it before you get on the ride. But
I think you're right. I think that's why people are, because you're
happy.
I didn't see anybody who was trashed or anything like that. I think because, well, first of all, you want to ride the rides. You can't drink too much and then ride them, but it makes people a little happier.
I want to talk to Marissa about, because she did some other things that are inside the park, but but not necessarily park attractions. And she went to a dueling piano bar after dinner last night, and she was hanging out with
Paula. Can
no, she can use my mic.
You can use your mic. Okay, come over here. So
Oh, yeah.
And that was on City Walk, right?
Yeah, City Walk. It's Pat O'Brien's, and it's the exact same Pat O'Brien's that is in New Orleans.
Oh.
If anyone's been there, it's this massive piano bar.
Yeah.
You walk in, it's foliage, and it's kind of a big Irish bar. You get hurricanes and all the drinks. There was a group of cheer moms.
Yes.
Their daughters had won that day, so they were all celebrating for their daughters.
Okay.
It was
That's
great.
cool. Nice. And Paula, you know what I've seen a lot of? Kids, like high school orchestras and bands and stuff like that. There were some in our hotel.
There's spring break going on for a lot of the schools, so they're all here and they perform. They actually create their own parade during the day.
Oh, cool.
They're doing their own parade?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They march through the park.
Okay.
I mean, that's just even more coordination that I'm just so impressed by, because you have like your obvious shows, right, from park employees, but then you have to coordinate shows with people who don't work here.
Yeah, they for the high schools, they have a program where schools can come and learn sound design for movies.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
And how to create the Foley system and crescendos, during suspenseful times. And they attend this little class for a day, and then they're able to perform out in the park, and then they march the parade route.
So one of the things we didn't have on our VIP tour yesterday was the actual sound studios part of here, because they film movies and TV shows and all that stuff, and they actually have sound stages that are set up for that, and there's several of them, right?
Oh, you're asking me.
All right, Paula doesn't know.
We'll just
She's
say
retired.
Where's my friend
Yeah,
Dana? He can tell you 2, 4, 6, 8 or 9 stages.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That are there.
And
big warehouse
fully
stages,
functioning
big classic,
stages,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, because Universal Studios. I mean, it's, they make movies, and the Los Angeles component of the parks, the resorts, they've got even more. That's where they do a lot of filming, active sets when you're there, and they still have the Hill Valley. Was that the name of in Back to the Future? Like that whole Times Square. That's all set up there. It's really cool. But they've got pieces of that here too, which is awesome. So
The train and the car.
yeah.
The
So
DeLorean.
it's all.
I did see the DeLorean. I did. I was very excited to see that.
And when we were in Jurassic Park, our guide was telling us, and this was Paige, our other guide, was telling us inside, right outside of the Velocicoaster ride, when you go inside there's a restaurant, and they have the T-Rex skeleton in there. That is the one that was used in that first film.
Really?
The actual physical one that they've got set up. So there are physical parts of movies that are here that you've seen.
Paul, I have a question for you, and I don't know, our guide may have answered this yesterday, but I didn't hear him. But there is a lot of Jaws memorabilia here, but no Jaws ride. Was there at one point a Jaws ride here?
Yes.
Okay.
Where the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Diagon Alley was once Jaws.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. Do you have a favorite part of the park, Paula?
My favorite ride is a toss-up between Mummy and Transformers.
Okay.
They're both cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both a multimedia, too.
Transformers is a 2-level attraction.
Right.
So you go on the downstairs, and there's a point where you get into an elevator, and the elevator goes up to the 2nd floor, and then you do the attraction on the 2nd floor. You get back in the elevator, come back down. I can't figure out when I come down.
In the ride?
Right.
In the ride.
Yeah.
I can figure out when I go up, but I can't figure out when part of it I come down.
Yeah, those rides play off the vertigo thing big time.
And
like
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
There may have maybe a little hint in there from the previous attraction of Kong.
Yeah, we saw.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's in the Mummy.
Yes.
Yeah. We saw it. Yeah,
Yeah, we were
cool.
inside of the old
There's a
King
little
Kong
Easter
ride.
egg, yes.
Yeah. Oh, and there are a ton of little Easter eggs around here. And when we were walking through where the Marvel comic strips and stuff, the artist. We had heard the names. He has written. His name is Adam, and his name is in every single piece of
Meanwhile,
art.
I didn't. You guys were all like, "There it is, there it is." I was like, I didn't see one time. See Adam.
Did you see the big Stan Lee sign?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, she missed the Stan Lee sign.
I didn't see the
Stan Lee
sign.
appears throughout the entire Spider-Man ride. He's in multiple locations.
Well, and when we were coming back from dinner last night at Mythos, we wandered into a part of the park I didn't even know was here. I walked in, I'm like, I haven't seen any of this, and we're leaving.
What was it?
It was, it continued in that kind of earthy-looking, mountainous, style.
Fury?
And what's that?
Poseidon's Fury?
That must have been it. What is Poseidon's Fury? Is that a ride?
It's very cool. It's like a water ride, right? Well, it's more like a presentation, like a stage show.
Theater type show.
Yeah.
But you travel from room to room.
Yeah. So there's a part where you walk, Preston, and this is very cool. You get to see. You should check that out. Where the water, you're walking down a tunnel, and the water starts arching over you, creating a water tunnel.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and speaking of water, there's a ride that I never would have thought twice about because it's Dudley Do-Right, and I haven't cared about Dudley Do-Right and who knows how long. But that water flume ride, that Dudley Do-Right water flume ride looks awesome.
It like shoots you out at the end. You're like,
yeah.
Well,
You're going, oh crap, I'm getting wet.
Yeah. You look like you get soaked.
So for like yesterday when it was like 61 degrees, it wouldn't have been so cool. But when we came the first time, it was pretty hot, baking hot, and that was fantastic.
You rode it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's great. And you're right. You shoot right out. It's not like a lazy sort of flume just going down.
Right.
You shoot out of that thing.
Yeah.
At the bottom are what looks like level 4, whitewater rapids.
Yes.
It's pretty wild.
Nice. I love this place.
Yeah.
This is so great. So, all right, well, listen, tomorrow we'll have your opportunity to win another trip. We're excited about that, obviously, and then the day after, and the day after, and the day after, and all that stuff. So, Paula, thank you. It was great to talk to you.
My pleasure. Thank
and
you
we
guys
appreciate
for
your
coming.
help. It's Paula Bowers.
Yay!
From Universal Resorts in Orlando.
We had enough microphones for everybody.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, so it's looking like it's going to be a gorgeous day. We had nothing but cloud cover yesterday.
Although that wasn't awful.
It wasn't that bad, really.
I thought it was a great day for a
It was, yeah. You weren't exhausted by the heat. You weren't sitting out there frying. And also, it's probably a little bit warmer down here than it was back in Pennsylvania yesterday, too. So no complaints.
And by late in the day, it actually kind of warmed up a little bit
it
and just became flat out pleasant. So I think we kind of got lucky.
And just real quick, on Friday at the Phils game, sitting outside at the ballpark, that just was like heaven. It was so nice being there. So just to flash back to that real quick, it was such a great experience being there in March. If you ever get a chance to come down for spring training, do it.
And we didn't get a chance to really recap any of that because we when we stopped, that's when the gates opened up, and then the game started to happen, and it was just an ocean of green. I didn't know everybody was buying all their green Philly stuff and bringing it down for the game, but that was impressive.
Yeah.
And it was like being at home. It was like being in South Philly.
Yeah. I was walking along. I saw so many people. I saw the gentleman who installed the sprinkler system at my house. Just so there. I mean, and even here at the park, at Universal. Because so many people decided to marry those things together. Was just walking around, you're seeing loads of Eagles paraphernalia, Phillies paraphernalia. It's pretty amazing.
And Nick and I ended up hanging out with somebody, had no idea this was going to happen. He's a total Phil's geek. Like, he's all about baseball, all about the Phillies. And it was Miles Teller's dad, the actor's dad, Mike, was there, and he's texting. He's sitting next to me. He's texting Miles while we were talking because Reese had hit a home run.
Yes,
and it was Reese's birthday, and we were kind of small talking. And he goes, yeah, it was just I told my son that Reese got a home run, and he got